Hello, and welcome to another episode of Be Clay. It's your girl, Alisa. Yes, it is. Here I am. So, I'm excited because, number one, again, today is May 31st. May 31st is actually the first day, well, the first episode that I actually recorded. I recorded on the 31st. I didn't get to upload it to the 5th. However, I recorded it 2 years ago, May 31st, 2024. Yes, I've been on a hiatus, but congratulations to 2-year anniversary milestone. Okay, because I kept talking about it and I finally did it. And even when I did it, I did it on the 31st because I said that I have to at least have the episode done by June 1st because everybody, especially those that what I was working with at that time, was like, come on, let's go. And they made like an ultimatum. So with that being said, other than next to celebrate, because today is May 31st, and that means that we are actually on schedule for the 4th time. Yay! I told you guys celebrate every little milestone, okay? When there's consistency, especially if you have a problem, not a problem, but you struggle with consistency and discipline. You have to celebrate each part every time, okay? I don't care if you every time you've been consistent, just celebrate it. So with that being said, something about ultimatums, I don't know. I realized that we have an issue, and when it comes to deadlines, a lot of times I wait till the last minute to cover deadline, or I better hurry up and do this, or this is going to happen most times, whether it's a bill or something like that. So I asked my sister, I said, give me a date. Pick a date, 1 to 31, give me a date. She said, and this was the beginning of May. And so she said the 31st. And I said, okay. So the 31st, I better have, and because it was the beginning, I told myself, I better have at least 2 classes done, because being at WGU, I love it. I like it. And the main reason that I picked to go to WGU was because it's self-paced. There's 2 self-paced schools, and I picked this one, which I'm not sure why I didn't pick the other, but however, this is the one I've chose. And, I remember, because I was able to start in December with this one, because each new term can start the 1st of each month. So, and I wanted to start December, not wait to January. So, but the problem is I started December 2024, and we are now at May of 2026, and I only have 3 classes finished. Well, yeah. 3 classes finished. So what I did, because I said I better have 2 classes done, and that your girl did it. But your girl did it in 1 week. She finished 2 classes in 1 week. Isn't that crazy? All this month I didn't finish these classes, but in 1 week, because I'm like, oh my goodness, we're getting to the 31st. Let me hurry and get this done. Okay. So with that being said, first, I'm congratulating me that I finished 2 classes in 1 week, which also says at least all you had to do really was lock in, and you can have this degree by now, and we are correct. Now, to finish my degree, the term ends August 31st, and we need to finish by the end of this term, because your girl, she not made of money, okay? At least not yet. Okay, at least not yet. And so to not pay for another 6 months term, we need to get this done. And it's 2026. I turned 40. Why not celebrate my birthday with a graduation, that you finally get it done. So what we're doing is, so now I'm out and I'm asking everyone, if y'all have different incentives, right? The consequences and incentives that I would not get, but give me suggestions of what to do. Like for this one, okay, so I gave her the 31st, and I said, okay, now I need a consequence, and I need a consequence, and I need an incentive. And my incentive and consequence was London. So everyone that knows me, London is my dream vacation, my dream place to go. I actually, if I could, would live there for a couple of months, at least for a few months. But we're not at that place, so we can do stuff like that. But for my 40th birthday, I decided I want to go to London, and my Birds is playing there. Are you serious? My Birds, my Eagles, we're playing in London. So that just like the perfect, and they're playing in October. So it's the perfect birthday gift to me, right? Happy birthday to Elisa. Thank you. So I said, if I do not get 2 classes done by the 31st, I am not able to go to London. And then I know I would have been mad watching the game on my TV at home, pissed because I could have been at the game and having a great old time with my Birds fans. And so that's what I did, and we did it. So now we can go to London. We're working on London. So with that being said, so I realized we need to do this. So we need to do this. This is the way we need to get this classes done, where you have a goal that you have to do, whether it's like, if I don't get this class done by Friday, then such and such is not going to happen. So drop down any comments of suggestions of what, so we can get this done. I have 16 classes left in my, 16 classes left in my degree, which sounds a lot, but it's not a lot, especially since about 5 of those classes are classes that I already taken at other institutions, but I have to take it at WGU because a certain amount of classes have to be taken here. So technically I could just brush myself with, refresh my memory and then take and test out. So it really shouldn't take that long to finish this out, but we just got to lock in. So help me lock in, you guys. Help me lock in. Okay. So yes. So I'm setting up a sentence and consequences to cross this finish line by August 31st. So give me some suggestions of rewards and penalties that, will help me stay accountable. Okay. Because we're not just talking about it, but to be about it. All right. So now let's get into the episode. So today we are basically going to part 2 of 2023 of the healing journey. This right here, when I had in my episode of what to expect, a lot of that I those different things to expect came from this year. And the last half, we're going to talk correct today. The last half of 2023. Okay, this is it. This is the majority of the what to expect. It came from this last half. Okay, it came. So let's start from. We are now at June. Now I think I went from June to mid-June 15th, but we're starting at June. Okay, now here in June, we're going to say basically the theme of June was I was having a tantrum. Okay, I was having a tantrum because, when I first got healed, or the first part of surgery, we talked about that, when you have cancer or you have any type of tumors or something like that, and it's a great mass that surgeons will go in and they will cut the great mass, and then they will assess the situation. They're able to see things differently and better because that great mass is not there, and then you will go accordingly, right? Depending whether you do chemo or whatever case may be, you will now be able to understand what's the best way to get the rest out, or whatever case may be. So June is where we are here. The great mass was gone. The cutting away that was in March. And I was just living off of the fact that yay, it's off, it's out. So I was on high from March, April, and May. Now, there were some things that wasn't happening because I think about it in the May, I began to see that because by the end of May, I was seeing that what I expected, that once I got free, or at least not just say I'm free, but begin to see the aftermath, because you can tell that I was different. Everyone could tell that I was different, and I was lighter, and like my skin was glowing, things like that, lost weight, all these things was happening. And I just assumed that, it was, I don't know, I just assumed there's certain responses that I just assumed, and it wasn't happening. So when we get to June, this is when I began to have a tantrum, because now we're at the place where we really are at the place where how should I say this? So we're at the place where we are when God is really okay. So he's the surgeon, right? So he's saying, okay, so here is the way that we're going to go the rest of the healing journey, the recovery journey, and preparing for whatever surgeries that needs to ever happen. And I wasn't liking it because I just didn't like it. So I was having a tantrum, basically, because I expect the plan. The plan that he was coming up with, I didn't like the plan. Okay, there was instructions that he was giving me that I didn't like, and I was like, that's not fair. I want to do it this way because I expected things to be this way, and God was saying that's not the way it needs to go. And so I was basically having a tantrum and acting out. I really was. I was just like, I'm doing it my way, to some degree. Like I didn't like the way I did carry out the instruction, but I carried out the instruction with an attitude. It's like when you tell your kids wash the dishes, they wash the dishes, but they wash the dishes with an attitude, right? You might as well not wash the dishes at all if you're going to wash with an attitude. Fix your attitude. So I was doing it what he was telling me to do, but I was doing it with the attitude because I wanted this result to come out. And so I was just doing the way I wanted to do it. And so that spiritual high was beginning to wear off. It was beginning to wear off. Because I was trying to get some validation from other people and I wasn't getting it. I was trying to get, like, yay, look at you. Now here we all going to do it at the same time. That I wasn't getting that. And God was really trying to have me focus just on me and not looking at everybody else. And so I didn't like that. I didn't like it. I wanted it to be everybody. I don't know. So, and he was like, no, let's not do that. So at the end of June, God had someone basically talk to me, and it was like, Lisa, get your life, basically. Okay, get it together. God is trying to do something. You're in the way for the most part. Let him do what he want to do. Now, when that person came to me, I thought he was going to be on my side, and he wasn't. And he wasn't, right? And so I was mad. June was a tantrum. I was having a whole tantrum that whole month for the most part. And that tantrum lasted because this was at the end of June when he came in. I was mad. I wasn't mad at him. I was mad at the situation because I knew he was coming from God. And he was like, get your life together. Stop acting out like you're doing too much. Stop doing it that way, and because that's the wrong way. And I didn't like that. So here, yeah, I didn't like it. So we had a tantrum. So in July, at the end of, like, we'll say maybe in May, there was a specific instruction, like I said, God gave me. And I was carrying out that instruction up until June. Then I started carrying out with an attitude. However, now we are in July and I still have a little attitude, but it was wearing off. Because at the end of the day, I really did want God to do what he needed to do. So, but what also made me kind of like say, all right, Lisa, for real to get together, something happened. I realized the impact. That I had on people that was watching me, that I didn't even know that they were watching me that closely. There were a few people that had, made some, not, I'm gonna say comments, but they asked some questions, and I was like, oh my God, like I really understood then, like, you're really watching me. Now let's back up. First of all, a while ago, I don't know if I mentioned it in these news episodes, but I definitely mentioned it in the like in my older episodes, that I do not have a problem of telling you the good, the bad, the ugly. What I do have a problem is you seeing the good, the bad, the ugly. Well, the ugly phase, right? And so, or the bad. Like, I just want you to see the good. Okay, I want you to see, even from the beginning when it was bad, and then you see the good, and like, oh, what happened? And I could tell you. So, I have a problem with people seeing that middle part. And this is when I began to really understand why God said, Lisa, no, everybody needs to see the good, the bad, the ugly, because that was one thing I was fighting. He told me that beforehand, and I always fight that. I don't want people to see the bad and ugly. However, now I'm realizing why, because this made, as I was going through this journey, and there were some other things that was going on in my life, I was telling people as I was going through it. So even that instruction that I got, I actually revealed that instruction to people. And at first I got a lot of opposition, but now they were seeing the difference, right? They were seeing the difference of me carrying out that instruction and the impact that it had, that it actually say, maybe I need to do the same thing too. Right. And then as I was still carrying out and say, like, hey, this would have, then I realized, okay, at least you got to stop acting out and having a tantrum, because people are watching you. They're watching you. And the way that you handle this can either bring them to me, bring it to God, or hinder them. Right. And so this is why it's imperative to even, the way we go through things, period, right? People are watching us. The Bible says that we are epistles read amongst men. And I think sometimes we forget about what that means. But it's just the same thing as like when you watch a movie or something and there's a character there that go through some things, you always remember what happens at the end. And you're watching this character, right? So we are like movies, right? They're watching us to see how we're going to make it, how we're going to do it. And that response has a great impact. No one gives no one permission for no one to watch them or to be a role model. When you look at all your role models or who you look up to, they never say, hey, you want me to be your role model? You have my permission. No one, they don't even, some role models that we have, they don't even know our names, but we still look up to them. Certain celebrities and things like that I look up to, that's my girl, that's my whatever. They don't even know who I am, but then I feel like they're my role models, right? Like Taraji, that's my girl, right? And she don't even know my name, okay? So, and they didn't ask permission. So no one asked permission for, people look up to us, and we never know what people see in us that allows them that can deter them from good things, or that can hinder them, or that can help them, So we got to pay attention of how we go through things. So this is when I said, you know what? Okay, God, I'm sorry. And all right, we here. We doing this thing, and we're going to do it your way. And we're not walking right here with them in an trifling attitude and having a tantrum. So this is what we're doing here. Okay. So now that's July. It's July when I figured it out, when I decided, okay, we're going to do this your way. And because I have to, because people are watching. That's what I said. Now, let's get to let's get to the gist of it. Now, when I made a declaration that, okay, God, let's go. I'm with you. Whatever you say, let's get this moving. People are watching me, and I can't be sitting there and keep walking around with these tantrums. What I didn't realize is we are about to enter into the ugly phase and the withdrawal period, which it was, oh God, this was a very long withdrawal period. I'm telling you, for the rest. Now we're in July, and in July. And you have to understand, first of all, like even with the good, the bad, the ugly phase, right? What I have to understand, like Jesus himself did not, like he didn't just say, guess what, y'all, I resurrected. We was able to see his suffering, right? Before we understood the resurrection. And so here is the suffering that people was beginning to see. Okay. Because I looked at a hot mess, according to me. I looked at a hot mess. It was bad. From August all the way up to December, it was bad. I realized that I hit a plateau at this moment. Because when at the end of July, I just knew once I made, okay, God, let's go. You know, I'm with you now. Let's and I sat there and I cried and everything during that declaration, not realizing how like the impact that I have on people and it was a great impact. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize they're looking at me and all that. So I'm just thinking we was going to go. I just assumed there was going to be another cloud nine spiritual high from here, and it was not. If I hit a plateau, I hit a plateau. I did not realize that, I don't know, it just was bad. My body began to crave the old patterns, those old defense mechanisms. I went back to work in August. First of all, over the summer, I applied for a position that I did not get. And I was a little upset for that. But I figured I didn't get it because I told you I was acting out in June and I was having a tantrum. So I felt like God was like, here, that was my little beating, right? That's the first thing. But that's what I figured it. So it was like, I was upset, but then not upset to be honest with you. And so I go back to work and there's a lot of things going on at work. So, and, in August, at the end of August, like the mid-August, I went back to work. And so the first 2 weeks of August wasn't too bad. It was me preparing for work because there was a lot going on. So, and with all that being said, but this is when I realized that because I didn't get the position, other things was going on in my house, and it was just a lot, and I was on that cloud nine anymore, and so things began to really hit me, right? It began to really hit the reality of my situations, and so now remember, I had a great mask cut out. So all those old thoughts and stuff wasn't there. Well, a lot of the old thoughts and things was not there. So I'm looking for it. And they're not there. And so now I'm freaking out. Okay? I'm freaking out because, and I feel like I'm stuck. I'm freaking out and I'm stuck because I can't move. Because what am I moving with? I don't know how to move from here. And so that is August. All of August, I'm like, oh my God. Then I start really blaming myself. Elisa, you're not really free. And, you thought you were, and start blaming myself. This is your fault. Like, I just started literally see, you thought you was going to be free, but how you never can. Like, I really started thinking some old thoughts. Like, it's just things that it was just coming. And then I was getting mad at myself for thinking like that. It was bad. Fighting, trying to find, this is where you it maybe didn't take some old things that people used to say. There are times when I had went through the process of trying to get healed, And there were certain voices coming from people that will say, hey, I thought you were free, because if you were free, you wouldn't do this and you wouldn't do that. You must not be free, and this, that, and the other. And those thoughts and process was coming back. These are people people said that. And when they said that, so those voices coming. See, they told you were never going to be free. And this is why they didn't get to where you need to get to when the way you respond, the way that you expected to be responded, the reason why they didn't respond in the way that you wanted to respond, because they know for sure that you wasn't going to be free. That was a thought pattern that I had for the most of August, that I kept, because to me, I felt like the evidence of me not being free was what I was seeing, but that was a lie. This is when I began to believe lies. But we understand that a lie is a lie, right? You can't, our expectations is different. That's why the Bible tells us that lean not to our own understanding, because it be lying to us. Our understandings be lying to us. It does. It lies to us. And so I was spiraling, going through like a mental shake, basically shaking and getting sick and mentally. This is the withdrawal period. Because I didn't know what's going on. So now we in September, and I'm like, God, like, so things still was happening. And I'm like, God, like, it really didn't take. I thought it was going to take this time. Like, I'm up here crying and snotting and things like, oh my God, what happened? And he said, baby girl, how old are you? At least, how old are you? And I was like, I'm 36. I'll be 37, but I'm 36 right now. And he said, you have to understand that there's love to this, baby girl, basically. And you have been living with these coping mechanisms and survival strategies for over 30 years. You have to learn how to utilize new coping mechanisms. Like, you have to learn this thing. You are basically starting over. It's like relearning how to walk. And I was just like, oh, okay. But it was bad, because it was bad. So, baby's like, this is when I learned about there's a level to this stuff. It's level to this healing. And you've been, over 30 years you've been dealing with it. This is how you cope. This is when stuff happens, you do this. When stuff happens, you do that. This is how you think. These thought patterns. This is what you think. You let that motivate you and thrive. And whatever you do throughout your daily routine, this is your thought pattern. So is a man thinking. So is he. So when you was always thinking defeated, then you walked in that defeat. So now your body and your mind is looking for that defeat. And what's going on is the defeat part, all of it wasn't there because he cut most of that out, or the root of it out. But yeah, I don't know how to not walk in defeat. Am I making any sense? Like, I don't know. I didn't know how to walk in victory instead. And so it was a constant battle in between of like, okay, but he cut that out. So now what? And then it's like, no, but this is how so it was a constant battle that I was going through. Like, okay, that's out. So now what? Now what I do? Now what like, how do I think? Like, what I'm supposed to think? Like, are you free? Well, I thought I was free. Like, it was, okay, so what does free look like? Like, it was just a constant battle, a mental battle, but revelation. And I'm also at this time was really learning the effects of that thought pattern. Like, what did it really mean? Like, like it was basically those thought patterns, those old mechanisms, those things. I was really now get the definition of what it was, what it was doing, and everything else. So, but it was an ugly face. I looked a hot mess. I looked bad, okay, going through this, but it was a withdrawal period. So I basically went through this through October and November as well. But now come with the understanding that there's levels to this. It gave me I approached it different. Now now that these thought patterns was coming, me blaming, and all these things, I'm now looking at it. Where did that come from? Why am I thinking this? I'm looking at it differently. And don't get me wrong, again, I looked a hot mess because I was withdrawal period. So all the sweating and all of these things is basically all of that was happening, to be honest with you. All of that was happening. I tried. It wasn't working. I tried to kind of mask it. It wasn't working because it's like, okay, this is what you used to think, like, but you can't think like this no more. So now what you're thinking? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, is it really real? Like, was that you? Or was that somebody else? Like, all this was going on in October, and November, and because again, there was people that I was expecting to be there, and they weren't there. And I had to go through that part as well. This relationship that, the revelations of the relationship, and even because a lot of stuff that I was thinking, a lot of that came from certain relationships. And so it was now getting to the truth and the bottom of where things were coming from. And I didn't like it. And I didn't want to admit that that's where it was coming from, that really wasn't me, and that really wasn't God. It really was this, and it really was that person. These people in these relationships that was trying to keep me at a broken state. And so understanding that, the truth of that, it was a lot, you guys. It was a lot. This is the stuff that people don't talk about, right? This is stuff you don't hear when it comes to healing, that when you really get to that point of like really getting to the truth and the bottom of your thought pattern, or where it came from, the mindset that you came from, the root, where a lot of the stuff was seeds that was planted from people, whether it's your mama, your daddy, husbands, boyfriends, whatever, someone that said something you used to date, back in the day or something, whatever case and be, and you just took it and said, oh, this is me, this has been me all along, and it really wasn't you. It's just that they dropped the seed and then they planted in the water, and then here we are, and then you assume that's you, and it's not. So I was going through that, God really breaking down the thought patterns and where it came from, and I didn't like where it came from, you guys. I'm not going to be honest. So I was fighting, to some degree. I was fighting it, and then I didn't want to fight as much because I was fighting, depression, yeah, I was fighting depression. Like, it was bad, because that, withdrawal, when you're in the withdrawal period, your body, like, it begins to yearn for that old thing, and you like, no, we can't go back there because, and so it was yearning for it. And then I'm trying to prove that we don't need it, but at the same time, it's like, but do I not? Like, because again, you've been living like this for 30 years or over 30 years, and certain parts was worse than the other within your over 30-year period of life. And so it was bad. And I was like, see, this is why I can't. And I wasn't performing daily activities as well as I needed to some degree. At least I felt like it, like at work and things like that. I was slow in some areas and different things like that. So that was messing me up because, again, this is one thing that I did not realize that I had, but we'll talk about this in 2024. But how I perform this codependency that I have of gotta be perfect, gotta be right, can't mess up. This is something that I have not inherited, but one of those things that was a coping mechanism that I had. And so when I began to mess up, I began to hit like, oh my God. Like I had to begin, oh my God, anxiety, because this is what I'm used to. Because I grew up learning that I'm not allowed to mess up. And I was messing up. And so this made me feel even worse. So, but basically this was, as I'm looking back at it, especially in November, my job began to downsize. It did downsize. So it did downsize. It was just a lot going on. it downsized and it caused more issues and problems at work and at home, and it was bad. The promotion I didn't get, it did help realizing, oh God, you said I can't get the promotion because that promotion was only going to last for a couple of months. You right. I appreciate that because you know more better than I do. I appreciated that. I did. I appreciated that. And it's actually at this point, I'm saying this is like that because everything downsized right before Thanksgiving. We went to Thanksgiving, came back from Thanksgiving break, and it was bad. I felt lonely. I felt by myself, to be honest with you, because I already had a lot of opposition up to this point when it came to the healing process from a lot of people. Like, oh, you're doing it wrong. Especially when I told them some people about this instruction, they felt like, you're just a fool, Lisa, basically. But I said I didn't listen to God beforehand, so I'll start listening to Him now. But then I told you that I was listening to Him, but in June I had a tantrum, and but now you've seen people that was watching me, and it had a great positive impact on them. And then here right now I'm at this plateau thinking that it didn't work. I started gaining my weight, finding my weight back. And so that made me not feel great because who wants, all those who are trying to lose weight and then regain, you understand what it is, what that feels like. You just feel like a failure sometimes because it's like, dang, I was looking okay and now look at you. Like, it was bad. But I made a determination, and here we are. And all this was, again, September, October, November, and December. This is all December. But December, I decided to, like, okay, Elisa, because even though I was going through this and it didn't feel great, it felt bad. But what I kept saying to myself is, Elisa, you're not going to rush it. You're not going to rush it. You're going to go through this because I'm so used to rushing it because I don't like this. I don't like people seeing me looking like this. I don't like people seeing me looking. I don't, because people, they say stuff and they don't even know what you're going through. And then I'm like, if they just ask me, I'll tell them. But but this time I was like, no, you're going to, and I got the whispers, the stares, the this and that and the other. And and I just said, Elisa, we're going to go through this. So we're not rushing this part. We're not rushing this part. It hurts. It sucks. It doesn't feel great. You feel by yourself, all these things, but you're going to go through it. And that's what I kept saying. And now it was all the way up to December, to be honest with you, because I started January. And a lot has happened too. Like with my mom, she almost died. Like, it's a lot happened in 2023. I actually lost somebody in 2023 that was real close to me. Like, a lot happened even within this. So, and I was finally feeling all the the grief from that. It was just a lot of things. All this grief and everything really kicked in between these last months, these last 6 months. We'll just say last 5 months after my little tantrum. Like, all this was happening in all at one time. But I was determined. Okay, I was determined that we're not going to rush this. We're not rushing this. We're not rushing this process. We're not rushing the recovery process. We're going to take the time. We're going to feel every feeling. And everybody looking at me. So what? Now I used to start. That's I think I used to say, so what? It is what it is, because they don't know. They don't know. I ain't listen to you guys any other time, and I always rush it any other time. And this time I want to make sure. So even though it felt like I didn't take, what God told me is that God told me that there's levels to the stuff. So all right, I'm gonna trust what you say. We don't feel like it, but I'm gonna trust that part. And we're gonna come on. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. So, but again, like a lot of people don't talk about that part, the withdrawal period, the time you feel by yourself when you feel like, oh my God, right? So, until next time, again, we're going to start what? So when we come back, we're going to be 2024 because now we at the part where things start to turn up a little bit. But again, I'm not feeling great leaving 2023. I just kept telling myself, although you don't like it, just keep it moving. We're gonna start 2024. We'll be in June. The next episode, what is Sunday? June. What is it? 7th or something like that? Something like that. June 7th. And we be officially 2 years. So we'll be officially 2 years when I come back here, and I will start on 2024 part 1. The first 6 months of 2024. We're moving, you guys. We're moving. But until next time, understand and know that you are loved. You're not loved just by some, but by the one who created you in his love. And he don't just love you a little bit, but he loves you greatly. And his love is unconditional. And he does not the only one that loves you unconditional. So do I. Bye. So I will be